come in and talk about these type of sad topics, but I feel it's very important in this generation we talk about it because it's something that's very important. This story to me is so sad, and I really feel so much deep empathy for this young girl. She's 27 years old, so I say young girl. Um, but it's something that I feel the younger generation needs to be aware of because there's so much free exchange, if you know what I mean, in relations out there. People are sleeping with pretty much everyone freely, and they don't really take the time to use precaution. They don't get their checkups. And this is very prevalent in Hollywood. We see a lot of Instagram models and Instagram women that are playing musical chairs with the different celebrities, if you know what I mean, sleeping around with the different celebrities. And the sad truth is, a lot of those women, these women that are so beautiful, that pretty much can sleep with any man they want, allegedly, that's what their mindset is, they don't get checked up. They're not taught the importance of getting your regular checkups, going to the doctor, which is very important, especially if a person's sleeping around with multiple partners, to make sure any partner you change, that's what doctors say, anytime you change a partner, you should be going to the doctor regularly to get checked. And this story to me is just very sad, and I feel like we need to talk about it. Just giving a disclaimer, me being a Christian woman, I personally can only speak for myself. I believe in waiting until marriage and, doing it the sanctified way and all that. But the world doesn't believe that. So we got to talk about general things that go on in society. And this, because a lot of young people watch my channel, I think it's a very important story to talk about. And I really applaud this young lady for being brave enough. Her name is Jenna. To be brave enough to share her tragic story. It's very sad, but it's a scary thing to realize that people aren't getting checked up. They aren't. They're out having fun, thinking they're invincible and not getting the checkups that they need. So, who is this beautiful lady we see here? She is 27 years old. She is a model. She also has a very beautiful voice. She sings as well. Um, but, she, being young and beautiful, went out into the world and didn't realize that she ended up contracting a very sad lifelong condition. As you guys already know what it is. It's AIDS. I don't want to really want to use that, so that's probably the last time I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say an illness because just out of respect for, just that whole situation. It's a very, sad thing to see this happen to her. But the reason why I want to talk about it, because these stories can be used as teaching tools to help future people to make different decisions. So, she talks about her story. She doesn't really shed light. She doesn't really even know how she got it. And we're going to go on her TikTok because she does a lot of videos kind of going through her condition. And kind of exposing some celebrities that she may have been involved with. But she basically moved out of her home to New York to start a new life when she was around 17 or 18, I believe, 18, 17 or 18. And that's possibly when she contracted the HIV, and she didn't even know. She never got any checkups, you guys, for 10 years. So she just found out because she didn't get any checkups for 10 years. She never tested for, HIV or any of those other STDs out there. She went around for 10 years not knowing until last year she found out that it was full blown by then, and she contracted the full blown condition and almost died. She ended up finding herself in the hospital, and they were doing all these different tests on her. They thought it was cancer, ovarian cancer, all kinds of cancers and different things. And they finally tested her, and they said, did you realize? They asked her, did she realize that she had the illness? I'm just going to call it the illness. You guys know what I mean. And she didn't know. She was devastated. And that is so heartbreaking because the scary part is, you guys, her same tragedy is the same thing happening to a lot of young people out there. They're not getting checked. They're not going to the doctor. They're not doing the regular checkups. Anytime you are involved with someone, you should be going to get checked. I'm sorry. I know that seems extreme. People are like, oh, why you gotta keep doing it? Because it's out of protection for yourself and out of protection for others. And she was in that kind of Hollywood industry, whereas meaning she was sleeping around in my, allegedly with celebrities. Allegedly, there's no evidence of it, but she was seen, and she does do a TikTok, which we're going to play, of her being affiliated with or being around some celebrities, in particular Nick Cannon. She had been seen walking out of a hotel room, or sorry, out of a hotel, out of a hotel with Nick Cannon. She walks out first, gets into a taxi, and then he walks out very shortly thereafter. Um, Reasonably, any reasonable person would believe what is going on in a hotel room. Just logically, people can put the pieces together and understand what possibly happened. And that was back in 2015. And so, if she's had this for about 10 years, she probably had it around that time. And the other concern about that is we can see that Nick Cannon in particular, although he states that he has some type of ailment, he says it's lupus. We don't know if that to be true. We don't really know. Because the issue with him, you notice, is that he has so many different children. So an issue with him is, does he use protection? Because he tends to have all these different babies all around. So based upon just observing the external, it's not clear whether this man usually is in the habit of using protection. So there's a concern there for Mr. Cannon. Um, and then he also talks about having a sickness that could claim his life. He doesn't say it's AIDS, of course. He says it is lupus. But again, we don't know if he's telling us the truth. We don't know. The scary part too is about in the Hollywood world is a lot of these celebrities, man, they are sleeping around with different people and secretly carrying around these STDs. I mean, look, for example, and this is all allegedly, I don't know who's what, but example, R. Kelly. R. Kelly for years had genital herpes, allegedly. And that's already been established in court, basically, but from his medical records. But for years, he's had it, and he was spreading it to all these people. And he didn't come out and say it. So, of course, that's one example. There's another allegation about Usher having genital herpes, spreading it to people. So there's a lot of STDs allegedly floating around in the celebrity world, in the Hollywood world. And of course, they're not going to come out and share that with the world, understandably enough. But it's a dangerous place to be in Hollywood because there's so much free sleeping around all around and swapping different Instagram models and not using protection. And so Hollywood is a very unsafe place, in terms of sleeping around. But it's the same thing that happens in the general world in this generation. We already see that there is a new condition out, a new illness out, monkeypox. And of course, they're not saying it's an STD, but based upon the research that we're hearing in the news, the typical way it's spreading is through interactions, through skin to skin contact for long periods of time. And based on the research, they were saying it was being passed through, that type of, sleeping around. But they said in the men to men contact, but still it could apply with anyone. It just generally it's happening with that group right now, but it could still spread either way. It's not a discriminator. It doesn't discriminate. It's just for some reason concentrated in that particular group for now, but it's just giving a warning and a cautionary tale to everyone out there that you need to take precaution. Everybody, especially men are so focused on the external. They look at the beauty of women, like this lovely lady here, and that's all they see. It's true. That's all they see. They don't want to use protection. They don't want to use the rubber. They just see a beautiful face, and that's it. They're not concerned about what the person may possibly have or not. And it's just sad because these conditions, this illness particular, can claim your life. And this poor woman, she didn't get any checkups. And that's why I think it's important to, I don't know if this young lady had any, education as it relates to that. I think that teenagers, at least by high school age, should get some type of education about the use of protection, how STDs are spread, because it can even be spread through kissing. Very simple kissing. You can get an STD. And young adults don't know that. And she was only 17 years old when she got, exposed to the world and probably sleeping around and didn't really know really the dangers of that not using protection. Even just a general simple kiss can lead to a oral STD. And so it's sad. That's what I'm saying. I think it's important that we talk about this story because it needs to shed light that you need to get your checkups. This young lady should not have fully contracted the full disease. If she had gotten her checkups, she could have caught it early. She could have been taking her treatment because there's more advanced treatments now. And she would have never advanced to the full blown. I think she's at stage 4 by now, but based on her symptoms, we'll go into her videos. But oh gosh, this story, you guys, I want to know what you guys think, but I need to talk about it because it's something we need to warn everybody about and talk about. So she's a 27-year-old Instagram model. Her name is Jenna too. It said she reportedly linked to numerous celebrities such as Chief Keef, Chris Brown, and Nick Cannon. So she's been associated with these 3 in particular celebrities. She even starts dropping a little bit of clues on her TikTok, as we'll go into see. She reveals she nearly died from the illness after not testing for the virus for nearly 10 years, you guys. Nearly 10 years. This should not happen. And I pray if any of you guys are out there sleeping around, this should not happen to any of you. You need to be getting regularly tested, especially men too, because men don't get tested a lot of times, especially in the men community. You need, anytime you sleep with a partner, I know it seems tedious, you need to go and get checked. Even ask for the HIV test. You still need to get tested. Because the thing too, it's HIV virus is so slow to start to kind of form. It's initially when if your person gets it, they get the cold flu-like symptoms, and then you don't have any symptoms for years. And then and then later on, once it becomes full blown, all of a sudden you start getting all these illnesses. That's what I looked at based on the research. So it's you got to keep getting tested because even if you think you're in the clear, it may be negative today, but you wait a year later and now you have it. You know what I mean? So just make sure you're regular on your checkups because nearly 10 years she's had it, and she's been within that decade. We can see from videos that she shows, I mean, she's been around people. She's had to have been sleeping with people. So it's like, sad thing, okay? So for nearly a decade, she didn't get any tests, you guys. That's the part that made me want to talk about the story. Is that part right? My whole heart just dropped when she said she had it for 10 years and didn't know. The TikToker and Instagram model who's linked to Nick Cannon and Chris Brown confessed on her TikTok account on Monday, July 25th, that she doesn't know how she contracted the illness. You guys know what that is. We talked about it when it was. Jenna too opened up about her experiences in a video posted on her social media accounts and told her followers that she doesn't know when or how she contracted HIV, which led to her current condition. So sad. The 27-year-old model was surprised when her doctor told her the virus had to have been in her system for at least 8 to 10 years. And you can't even imagine how many people, you guys, she's been involved with during that decade. And there's actually a video of her on Instagram with there's a reality show she was on, and she had a boyfriend on that show, a Caucasian gentleman. And I was thinking when I was watching that earlier, I was like, oh man, I wonder if he knows and if he was tested because he was in a relationship just a few years ago on that reality show with her. And who knows how many other people she's been with. That's why it's important. So many people think, oh, I'm getting tested for myself. I don't have it. But you get tested to protect yourself and also protect future people involved with you. It's a societal thing that we have to look out for each other and not just for ourselves. Let's see. So the 27-year-old model was surprised when her doctor told her the virus had been in her system for 8 to 10 years. The doctor predicts she must have contracted HIV or the other thing when she was a teenager. Wow, you guys, a teenager between the ages of 17 and 19, according to his assessment. Wow. And that's something our teenagers need to know too, because kids really start getting active in that, arena, if you know what I mean, in high school, if not earlier nowadays with this generation, but in high school. So that's why it's so imperative that Parents sit down and talk to their kids about this. A lot of parents don't want to talk about this awkward discussion, but you need to. And you should give your kid a book on it. My mom did. My mom made me read a book, and that book was terrifying because that's it taught that there is just merely skin to skin. I mean, you don't even have to do the full thing. You don't have to do the full thing. You just merely just skin. That's it. Nothing full, and you can get an STD. I mean, like that's how sensitive it is. People don't realize. And so that's why, I mean, if she's 17 or 19 when she got this, think about all the other high schoolers out there who, or graduates of high school, whatever, just starting life, sleeping around with different people, not really knowing, and they don't have the knowledge and the whereabouts and the education. That's why I just think we need to educate. Parents need to talk to their kids. Schools need to talk about it. Kids need to have books, teenagers at least, high school. I mean, because you can't stop them from doing it. You just can't. You can talk to them about it and tell them, try to teach them a way, but you cannot stop a kid or teenager from wanting to do it. So it's better to just educate them so they are aware. This poor girl probably contracted this at 17 or 19. That's scary. Or between 17 to 19. That's scary. She didn't even live yet. And she went out into the world, and who knows what, where, or who has it because of her. And she did an interview on Tasha K's app, and she says she doesn't think anyone got it from her, but how do we really know that? And within a decade, she could have been with different people, and she didn't. If they didn't get tested yet, there's no way of her really making that definite answer. But her answer right now is that she didn't think she spread it to anyone else. I don't know if I believe her on that, but who knows? The model also shared photos from an October 2015 outing with Nick Cannon, captured by paparazzi, and shared that she modeled for Breezy-owned clothing brand Black Pyramid with Chris Brown, sharing her photo on his Instagram page, according to the Shade Room. I think she's dropping little hints, you guys. She doesn't want to blatantly come out and say she has been with these men, if you know what I mean. But she's dropping little clues. You guys know these type of celebrities, they look for a certain type of women, and she fits the mold very well, as you saw her photo. Do you really think in your common mind, a reasonable mind, that they are just going to simply look at a plate of your favorite dessert and not want to eat the dessert? You know what I mean? So if they see what they like and their preference, a woman, they're not going to want to interact, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I think she's dropping clues, guys, but we don't really know. But we really need to be kind of side-eyeing Chris Brown and Nick Cannon of what's going on, because they're still out there in the world sleeping around. As you can see, Nick Cannon is just populating the earth. He is definitely complying with the scripture, be fruitful and multiply. He is multiplying the whole nation, if you know what I mean. But with this new information being disclosed, they need to be more careful, and they need to go get checked, because the thing is, Nick Cannon and Breezy could very well be going around at their merry-go-round life, not even knowing, or even knowing if they have the condition, who knows, and spreading it to other people. It's just, this is the worrisome thing about it. In December 2015, the model shared she had been hanging out in LA and New York City around Nick and Chief Keef. Let's see if there's any more to this article yet. Okay, and so let's go into, let's talk about this. She's going to talk about this. She's not going to really tell us because she doesn't know. It's been 10 years since that she's had it. So who is she going to really identify where she got it? Some of the things she says on the video, which we're going to talk about, she says that she was going out and getting all these tattoos, and they were using probably, bad needles or whatever. And then she said that she was unfortunately violated, if you know what I mean. While she was homeless, she was, her body was violated. She was RAPED'd multiple times, although she didn't report it as a crime. But her being young, she moved out of her parents' house, went to New York around 17, 18, I think it was, she said. So she was young and innocent, and she ended up being homeless and, probably naive, and ended up in some very tragic situations where she was violated and probably had to do things, if you know what I mean, to get given a place to stay. And who knows if that could have been around the time she got it. She doesn't know. But let's read this. She says, the entertainer has not confirmed having any intimate relationships with any celebrities she claimed to know in the video. Of course she's not. They probably have non-disclosures on her. That's why. Tu admitted in a Q&A session with her followers that she hadn't tested for, you know what I mean, the two conditions during an 8 to 10 year period. You guys, that is something we need to learn from. You need to be testing for it. I think that the mistake people think is it's only affiliated with one particular group of people. And so they think, oh, well, I'm not in that group, so it doesn't apply to me. No, it applies to anyone who's involved in relations, if you know what I mean. If you're physically involved and you're doing skin-to-skin contact, you need to be getting tested regularly. She didn't get tested for 10 years. That's the lesson we need to take away from this. And she only got tested once the symptoms became visible. That's when it becomes too late. When the symptoms become visible, it's too late by then because you already obtained or fully developed into the condition. Because like I said, based on the research that I was reading, is when a person first contracts HIV, they just get like initial cold. Like you'll get a regular flu-like symptom. So you're not going to think, or you, I'm not going to say you guys, but a person's not going to think that they have HIV. They're going to think, oh, I just have a cold. Whatever, I'll take some NyQuil, DayQuil, and I'm good to go. But no, that's the initial onset sometimes. If a person's active like that, you want to still go get tested just to make sure. I'm like, I make sure it's not what I think it is, and then after that initial onset, you don't see any symptoms or the person doesn't see any symptoms until it fully develops into the illness. And so that's the sad part. She doesn't realize she didn't get any tests until she got symptoms. And by then she already had the full developed illness by then. So that's another thing. It's the danger of this condition is it doesn't have symptoms most of the time until it's too late, until it fully develops into the illness. She also revealed that she was RAPED'd several times when she was homeless and could have contracted the virus when she was living on the streets of New York City. And if it was around the time when she was 17 to 19, that was around the time she said she moved to New York, she was homeless. And the issue with that was like, she first moved there, I guess, with a guy, and then the guy ended up kicking her out. And then so she had to kind of use Craigslist and other ways to try to find different places to live. And who knows if she felt, or being the innocent person she was at the time, if she may have sacrificed her body to get places to stay. She never mentioned that, but only one can wonder and think. The 27-year-old TikToker also reveals that she previously received free tattoos with the blood-borne illness known for being spread through needles. Wow. That's really concerning too, because free tattoos with, if they're not sterilizing those needles, you guys, and if she had it around that time, who knows how many other people were infected. This is so sad. This is a really sad story because there could be a lot of other people out there who contracted it during this long 10-year time frame. Could it have been a dirty needle? I don't know. Do I know those people? No. Did I say anything when those things happened? No, because I was naive and I was stupid and I was young. And I understand her initial reasoning. Being 17 to 19, yeah, naive, stupid, and dumb. But then when you start getting a little older and you start developing knowledge, you should start taking precaution. I mean, she's 27 years old, almost 30, and she didn't get any type of STD check at all. Accountability needs to be done, and we need to learn. We need to learn from it so that hopefully anybody who watches this video will start taking precaution and empowering you to just do education, because a lot of people, even adults, don't know how some STDs can be spread by just initial touch. I mean, it's that sensitive. Yes, it is. I read a book on it from a doctor who discussed the risks associated with it, and it's that sensitive. She shares in the video that her weight dropped drastically. She lost the ability to walk. She's blinded in one eye. Yes, it's very sad all this happened to her. She had to undergo physical therapy just to get her body back into shape. So sad. So let's go to her TikTok and watch some of her videos. This is one of the videos I want to share with you guys first. Let's start it.
Assuming cancer. So I guess it's time for story time. Everyone keeps asking how I got AIDS. I didn't know I had AIDS. I just got sick one day, started fainting, fevers. Then I got really weak, and I was going to the doctors, and no one knew what was wrong. They just kept assuming cancer, cervical cancer, lesions, and then I had some doctors saying, "No, you're perfectly fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with you." But eventually, a doctor was like, "Did you know you have AIDS?" And I'm like, "No," because I wasn't getting checked like I should have as much as I was supposed to. So I didn't know. And I lost a lot of weight because I was in the hospital. I don't know what happened. And from losing all that weight, I lost mobility in my legs, so I can't walk or stand right now. But I do my therapy every day, and I do take my pills every day like I'm supposed to. I take 5 pills a day. No, I don't know who gave it to me. So, I just found out recently I didn't have it. They said if I didn't show up when I did, I would have died because my blood count was so low. I was needing blood bags. They was taking bone samples. They were doing a lot because I was so weak. Still so weak. And I think I have wasting syndrome. I'm not anorexic on purpose. But yeah, I hope that answered a bunch of you guys' questions. So I guess it's time for story time.
So we're going to go over some other videos, but I wanted to talk about this because I agree with you, Kenya, that I also blame the doctors too, because when these young girls come to the doctor, one of the things they should be asking is, are you sexually involved? And if you are, have you been tested? That's I do feel that is a responsibility of a doctor. I do. I don't know about you guys, but I've gone to doctors, and doctors always ask that. That's like a routine question that they always ask, and they always encourage you to get those type of tests. So I do agree with Kenya that I feel like the doctors dropped the ball on that. But the other issue too is that for all those 10 years, she admits that she just hadn't been going to the doctor, period. So my theory is I don't think she really was going to get checkups regularly. When you're young and you're in the world and you're just having parties and you're beautiful and everyone just lusts after you and you don't feel the need to go to the doctor, a lot of these young girls just don't go because there's no symptoms. They're like, well, I'm fine. So if I'm not sick and I don't have any symptoms, I don't need to go to the doctor. That is the mindset of a lot of the younger generation. And that is something we need to change. We need to caution individuals that just because you're not sick, just because you don't have a symptom, doesn't mean you do not need to get your regular checkups. You need to still get your checkups. If you're out there and you're involved, you need to be checked. If you're sleeping with someone, you need to be checked. I mean, even if the person swears up and down that they're clean or whatever they say, a lot of them say that all the time, you cannot trust someone's word. And you need to be using protection in the first place. But I'm saying, if either way, you should, if you're involved with someone, I know it sounds like you're being paranoid, you should be being checked every single time. I know it sounds over exaggerating, but in this day and age, there's a lot going around, you guys. A lot of people are not getting checked. A lot of these young girls, like this beautiful young lady here, and I'm not blaming her, I'm just trying to use it as an educational tool, so I want to make that very clear. I'm not on here to bash this woman. If anything, I feel so much sadness for her, and it took a long time for me to want to talk about it because I was feeling so sad for this young girl. Because there's a lot of girls out there just like her. She's just a face that represents a lot of young people out there just like her who are out there having fun. They feel invincible. They feel untouchable. And so they're not getting checked at all. They're not going to the doctor, period. They're not even getting annual, normal annual physicals. They're not, because they feel good. You feel regular. You feel normal. So they feel like, well, if I don't have any symptoms, I'm good. I don't feel sick in any way. I don't need to go to the doctor. Their mindset is, I only go to the doctor if I feel sick. That's not the right mindset that we as a society should have. if you're doing anything risky, if you're involved with someone, you need to be checked. And it's sad because this young lady didn't know that, and she didn't end up going to the doctor until it was too late. She went to the doctor when pretty much she was almost going to die, when her symptoms were so bad that she could no longer ignore it. You know what I mean? I mean, she might have had a little cold here and there that sprung up about in the few years in that decade. But she thought, oh, it's just a cold. Let me take some NyQuil, DayQuil, and I'll go about my day. That's kind of the mindset of the young people, especially someone of her caliber who's so beautiful and people lust after her. And she's like, oh, I can just, use my looks and enjoy life. And she gets a little cold and she's like, oh, okay, this is a cold. Let me go get me some DayQuil or whatever. I'm good to go. Until it was too late, where the point where she could not ignore it. She couldn't ignore the symptoms anymore. It was like she couldn't even get out of bed. She couldn't do anything. So she had to go to the doctor. This story is being shared with you guys today to educate you that it's not enough just to wait until you start feeling sick, until you start feeling symptoms. You need to be getting checked each and every time you're with a different partner. And if even if you're with the same partner, because some of these people out here, you guys, will lie to you. There is a such thing as a wolf in sheep's clothing. They will lie to you and swear up and down that you are the only one when you're really not the only one. Okay? So I really applaud this young lady for being so bold to share this, because most people aren't. And I understand why, because people treat this sad, situation as a stigma. And we should be loving one another and showing empathy, because it could happen to any of us. That's the thing about it. People like to judge and bash and make fun of people, and people don't realize that it can happen to any of us, and we should show empathy and love to everyone. And just appreciate her for coming out with this information to help people down the line, to show people what could happen to any of us if we don't take precaution. So let's look at some things that happened to her when she kind of started realizing, okay, I need to start taking this seriously. But I think I wanted to play this first, guys. There's a couple other videos I want to play before we get to some of her more videos.
You were never sick. Only posting this video because some of you guys call me a liar. You were never sick. Okay.
They said how your physical therapy's gonna be. What they say?
Well, you're probably not gonna be in the room.
So, are they talking about letting you go home when they come do it, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, be there for 1 days.
Huh?
That's what they're talking about.
I can't really understand what you're saying, but they were explaining to you today something about your physical therapy.
Mm-hmm. Basically, they'll on me. And that bird. Wow.
And here, I'm not going to play this whole one, but you notice that how she's speaking, it sounds as though she's sedated, right? Or that she's under the influence of like maybe medication. No, she wasn't under any form of any medication in this video when she's talking. She merely just states that she was too weak to speak properly. That's what the illness did to her. It completely just kind of weakened her to the point where she couldn't even speak, you guys. She was unable to walk. She was unable to speak. And now she's lost vision in one of her eyes. That's how this sickness could affect someone and it could get to this point, but we have so much advancements now in medication that it doesn't have to get to this. But this is teaching us, especially a lot of the young girls out here who are young and beautiful, and they feel like they are invincible. This could happen to any of us if you don't take precautions.
Would you go to Mars?
So this was her before she basically found out, basically. So she's kind of just, this is how she was before, the Instagram model, enjoying life, not realizing what was happening to her this whole time. So you can look like you're fine on the outside. Okay, let's see. There was some other videos. Is this the one I was going to show you guys? Okay, here she's dropping some secret hints to us, if you know what I mean here. So you can see here, let's go back. She already disclosed to everybody that she had the condition, right? And so here she starts dropping some clues who she was with. That time when I was with Nick Cannon. And so here is a video she drops. And it's interesting that after she reveals her condition, she drops this, you guys. So you see that it says, I don't want to do the lyrics, but you guys can see here it says, moving on, Mariah Carey's ex, Nick Cannon, seen with heavily tattooed mystery woman spotted leaving, sorry guys, it keeps changing, leaving New York hotel separately as she's escorted out by his entourage. And you can see her right there. That is her before she started, you know, really showing the symptoms. That is her there. And there's Nick Cannon. And there is a photo of her with her shoe next to his. And he had just gotten a divorce. There she is right there walking out, photographs, entourage. She's walking out of the hotel, getting into a taxi. I'm going to have to play that again, guys, because the camera was out of visual. Here, there she's walking out of the hotel, being escorted out. There she is, and she's going into the taxi. She's leaving the hotel with Nick Cannon there, and then Nick Cannon follows thereafter with his security. There he is. And you notice, okay, one thing you want to talk about too is when there's a breakup or there's a divorce, what do men usually do? They want to get into the next pants as soon as they can, if you know what I mean. So Nick Cannon was vulnerable. He just had a breakup with Mariah. He's seen here, photographed up in a hotel room with Nick Cannon. What do you think happened, you guys? What do you think happened? You guys put the pieces together. I personally think you know what happened. I personally think. So there's some questions as to what really is Nick Cannon's condition. And is Nick Cannon being responsible? Did he ever get tested? He does. If he does have lupus, as he said, I know they get a lot of blood work, and he's had all these kids, so he would know by now. So, you know, who knows? Of course, he doesn't have to come out and tell everybody in the world if he has it, but he at least would know by now. He would have to know something. Tell me what I gotta do. Tell me what I gotta do. So I wanted to show this one because to show you that she sings. She's like a really, really good singer, you guys. She's amazing. She has some music on SoundCloud. So she's really talented. It's sad that she didn't use her vocal talent to, you know, become famous. Like maybe, you know, become a music artist. A lot of these beautiful young innocent girls, they go out into, you know, New York, Hollywood, all these places to pursue fame, and they use their beauty and to advance instead of, you know, the skills that she had. She could have been a famous vocalist or singer. She's really talented. So that's just a little bit of her singing. She's really talented. As we get a little bit up closer, here you can see this is her talking about how she was living her best life. Here, just she's saying I was living my best life, and she's just talking about before she found out about, you know what, before she found out that she had the illness. So let's just look at some of these videos, and then we'll go into how her condition is now. So I have to turn the music off, guys, because you already know copyright. So there, you could just see her. That's kind of her in her ailment before she found out about the illness. And of course, she's very stunning. But it's sad. I mean, this is really, she's a poster child of what we see a lot of our Instagram models are. They're out in the world, you know, sleeping around with these different people. But the question is, I don't think a lot of them get tested, you guys. I don't think. I think they're thinking they're living their best life. utilizing their looks to advance in society and not taking the precaution. And we really don't know, are there others out there like that, not knowing that they have, an illness, and they're not even getting checked or taking precautions. So that's her reflecting back on her life. And let's see, what else do I want to share on here? Okay, and now this is her currently, you guys. Very sad. Or this was just June of last month.
Yeah, I got here probably about 20 minutes.
This will be the last time that we stay. I don't know how long we've been here, but
Yeah, I got here probably about 20 minutes before you.
ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Push through those legs. Come on, push, 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 push. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Push through those legs. Come on, do it. Push those legs. And wait. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
This will be the last time that we stay. I don't know how long we've been here, but
Yeah, I got here probably about 20 minutes before you.
ready?
And this is sad. She mentioned in the caption, she says, I lost all my muscle and strength due to an immune system, the illness, and being in the hospital bed for so long. It's so sad, you guys. And it literally, you heard her moan, it literally hurts every ache and bone in her body to even do that. It was that painful. She lives in pain, you guys, every day. Every day she's in pain and agony. And she has to put this smile on his face, of course, to do the Instagrams. But I looked at some of the symptoms of it, and it's a very painful condition. Let's see what she has here, showing us. She's just keeping us informed of what's going on with her progress. Sorry for the glitches. That's just how the video is, guys.
Which is better for CMV.
So that's her in the hospital.
She saw count was so low.
As you see in that video, he's telling me that I have to be in both legs. Some of you that were asking, yes, the medication I need has some loss and stuff. So yes, I am blind in this eye, and my vision got really bad here. But hey, we're doing the best we can, staying on top of everything.
It's so sad. And the sad part too is in Hollywood, you guys, a lot of these celebrities, they speak about, engaging in sex and how amazing and all these things. And they talk about all the glory of it. And no one mentions taking precaution, getting checked up, or any of that, because they think, oh, well, this is not going to sell money or sell albums or sell fame. But the reality is a lot of these kids out here are ill-informed, and they hear these songs and they see things on social media, and they just see the glory of the act and so forth, and they're not realizing the dangers behind it and the precautions that we need to take. Let's look at some more of her Instagrams here. Let's see, what is this one? Oh wait, this one's just this is just a funny one, but let's see.
A lot of you are asking if I have any muscles in my legs and how strong am I right now. Most of my strength is in my arms. You can see I can kind of do this a little bit with my legs, but still need to get them straightened out. Stuff really hurts my toes. You get the picture?
So that is just last month. Let's see. So she's just talking about her blood count because that's one of the things you can see. Here, she's trying to answer a question, but she doesn't really answer it, but we'll play it anyway. They ask her, how did she get it? We already know her answer to that. She doesn't know, but see if it'll actually play. Or is it going to let me play it? I don't know. I don't know. It's not letting me play. It's not letting me play, guys. But basically, what's going on with her now is she's not able to walk, sadly. She's not able to see in one eye. Her blood count is pretty low. And it's just very sad, you guys. It's a very sad, tragic story. And I just feel like it's important to talk about it because the sad thing is it didn't have to get there. There's so much advancement in our society now for people to get treated if they find out early enough, and it doesn't have to advance that far. But I think the other key thing is to use protection, you guys. Just use protection. It's not cute. I know a lot of these celebrities out here doing these songs about twerking and sleeping around and all this stuff, and it sounds so cool. But this is the real reality. This is the reality, you guys, behind those actions of just really going out there sleeping and swapping partners and all that and thinking it's really cute, basically thinking it's a cute. No, you need to take precaution. You need to use protection. Number one, you need to be getting tested whether or not you have symptoms. That is the key thing, whether or not you have symptoms. And we'll just look a little bit of an overview of it just so we can learn about it, you guys, because people don't want to talk about it. They just get so afraid and they use it as a stigma. But we need to talk a little bit about it so people can be aware. Oh, yeah, Alicia, he does need to get tested for HIV as ASAP. He's having all these kids. Exactly. What if the kids have it? And I know one of his kids died of some type of condition. I don't know what that was about. I don't think it was that, but still, he needs to just make sure. Because again, you can test negative for multiple years, and then later on, you find out you have it. Yeah, she is still gorgeous, Island Girl. She is. I just pray for her. But let's look at some of the symptoms. So they say the illness is chronic, potentially life-threatening condition caused by the HIV, as we talked about, by damaging your immune system. HIV interferes with your body's ability to fight infections and disease. It can also spread by contact with using needles. It can spread by the mother to the child during pregnancy, childbirth, and breastfeeding. Without medication, it may take years. That's the key thing here. It may take years before the HIV weakens your immune system to the point that it develops into the AIDS. It takes years. So that's the thing. You may think, or a person may think, that they feel great for years and they don't have any symptoms, so they don't have to go to the doctor. But that is the danger behind it. Just because you feel fine and dandy doesn't mean that you're okay. You got to get tested. If you're out there and you're doing the act, go get tested. It's a simple test. Just make sure you're regularly up on your test with or without a symptom. That's the thing that you need to take from this. Without medication, it may take years before it advances to the AIDS illness. And of course, you guys already know there's no cure. But let's talk about the infection part. So the symptoms. They say that some people infected by HIV develop flu-like illness within 2 to 4 weeks after the virus enters the body. All right, 2 to 4 weeks. So once the person first gets it, they'll get that initial flu-like. They'll think, oh, it's just a flu. That's 2 to 4 weeks once you get the illness. And then that goes away. The illness known as the acute HIV infection may last for a few weeks. So this person might think, oh, I just have a flu. It's normal, whatever. So the possible signs and symptoms include fever, headache, muscle aches, joint pain, rash, sore throat and painful mouth sores, swollen lymph glands, mainly on the neck, diarrhea, weight loss, cough, and night sweats. These symptoms can be so mild that you might not even notice them. However, the amount of virus in your bloodstream, viral load, is quite high at this time. So they're saying you may think the symptoms are mild, but they're saying the amount of the virus, if you know what I mean, in your bloodstream is high at this time. As a result, the infection spreads more easily during the primary infection than during the next stage of it. So this stage, when it first is in the person's body, they get the flu-like symptoms. This is when the virus is high in the bloodstream. This is the highest part until it then advances into the next stage. The next stage is it just goes latent. It's the clinical latent infection. It's called chronic HIV. In this stage, the HIV is still present in the body and the white blood cells. However, many people may not have any symptoms. That's the danger zone, guys, and infections during this time. Because right here, when person first contracts it, the primary infection, that's when they have the symptoms. And they should get tested. But then here's where it's dangerous because they think, oh, I'm better now. It was a little flu, whatever. I did my Dayquil, NyQuil, I'm good to go. The problem is when it gets to this clinical latent infection stage, people, they just think everything's good and they're fine. But this is the stage where you need to be getting your checkups regularly. Just because it was negative the first time, it may be positive the next time. So here in the clinical latent infection chronic HIV stage, this is where many people do not have any symptoms, you guys. That's the danger zone. This stage can last for many years. Many years. If you're receiving antiviral therapy, some people develop more severe disease much sooner. So if this stage here, when it's in the chronic latent infection stage, if you go and get tested and the person finds out they have it, then you start taking your medications, you can prevent it from getting to the final, the actual A1ds, gets to that stage. You can prevent that. Symptomatic HIV infection. As the virus continues to multiply and destroy your immune cells, the cells in your body that help fight off germs, you may develop mild infections or chronic signs and symptoms such as fever, fatigue, swollen lymph nodes, often one of the first signs of the infection. If you notice that you have swollen lymph nodes, immediately go to the doctor. That's not normal, period. If you notice that, just go to the doctor because it could be anything. But if you notice swollen lymph nodes, that's a clue that something's wrong, period. It could be a flu, it could be this, it could be whatever. It could be cancer. Anytime you notice you have swollen lymph nodes, you need to go to the doctor. I'm just saying. Diarrhea, weight loss, oral yeast infection, shingles, herpes zoster, pneumonia. So the symptomatic HIV stage is when they start getting these particular symptoms we just talked about. So weight loss, you notice unusual weight loss. If you're eating a lot and you notice you just still losing all this weight, that's not normal. Or if you're starting to get a lot of sicknesses, get that checked. But even then, like I said, this is the stage right here where people stop really getting checkups because they don't have any symptoms. You need to still be tested. If you're out there sleeping around, you should be getting tested. I'm telling you. So the progression to the illness. Access to better antiviral treatments has drastically decreased death from illness worldwide, even in resource-poor countries. Thanks to these life-saving treatments, most people with HIV in the U.S. today don't develop the final illness. Untreated HIV typically turns into the illness in about 8 to 10 years. It's a key number. That's what the doctor was saying, because he said that when he found out she had the final diagnosis, he said she had to have had it between 8 to 10 years. So she has to go all the way back to, because she's 27 now, she needs to go back to when she was 17 and really start thinking of any person she was involved in. And she needs to inform all those people. Who knows if she can remember every single person from that time frame, but it shouldn't even get to that point. You guys need to get tested before it ever gets to that point. I'm just saying. When the illness occurs, your immune system has been severely damaged. Wow. So once it gets to the illness, you guys, that means the person's immune system has been severely damaged. So that means Gena's immune system is severely damaged to the point where she can't fight off anything. You'll be more likely to develop diseases that would usually cause illnesses in persons with a healthy immune system, you will more likely develop diseases that wouldn't usually cause illness in a person who's normally healthy. These are called opportunistic infections or opportunistic cancers. That's sad. So she's basically vulnerable to all kinds of ailments that normally any person who has a normally functioning immune system could fight off, and even possible various forms of cancer. It's just sad. Like, imagine all these different viruses just attacking someone's body, all different things from, I mean, you name it, all different cancers, everything just attacking her body. Like, oh my God, that's not a way to live, you guys. It's not a way to live. It's just not. So that's why it's important to catch it early to prevent it from getting to this stage where it's completely just dismantled a person's immune system. The signs and symptoms of some of these infections include sweats, chills, recurring fever, chronic diarrhea, swollen lymph nodes, persistent white spots or unusual lesions on your tongue or in your mouth, persistent unexplained fatigue, weakness, weight loss, skin rashes, or bumps. When to see a doctor. If you think you may have been affected with HIV or a risk of contracting the virus, see a healthcare provider as soon as possible. And that, I don't think that's enough advisements. If you have been involved with anyone, you should get tested. I'm sorry. In this day and age, you guys, people are out here sleeping around with different people without protection. They are. They're just doing a lot of risky behavior. So if you're involved with someone, don't just say, oh, I suspect. No, if you're involved with someone, just go get tested. It's not really an inconvenience to you to just set up a doctor appointment, get the test. At least it'll give you some peace of mind as well. Even if you're thinking, oh man, I'm doing too much going to doctors, because I just, it's not being overly cautious. It's protecting yourself. Because if a person, God forbid, finds out they have HIV, if they catch it early enough, there's many people who are living with it who are able to take, any antivirals or medications, and they are able to treat it and live long lives without it ever developing to this tragic. And that's why this story, I felt I needed to share it, because it's a takeaway story for everyone, that this girl did not have to get to this point. If she would have found out when she was 17 or whatever age she found out, she could have been on medication and would have never got to that and would have, never had to reach this point of, ultimate just suffering each day. That's the part that I really wanted to highlight, is that we need to be regularly getting checked way before it gets to this point. And it's very sad that no one spoke to this poor girl. I don't know how her childhood was. I don't know if her parents sat her down, because a lot of parents feel talking about the S word or the SCX, word. People think that, it's just, parents find it very uncomfortable to talk about that sensitive topic, but you need to do it. You need to, because whether or not you discuss it, your kids are going to be out there doing it. You can try to shelter them and lock them in a room. They are going to find a way to rebel. It's just the reality, you guys. It is. There's so much temptation out there in the world, and we can't live in a box. So protect yourself, protect others, and get a book on it, you guys. They have Amazon. They have a doctor's book that talks about the different STDs and how you can get it, because you'll be very surprised when you read the book. The book's out there. I'm just saying how easily STDs are spread. It's not just spread by the ultimate act. People think, oh, just do this one act, do the final act. You know what I mean? You guys are all adults. You do the final act, and that's when you get STD. No, you can get STDs even before you get to the final act. Just initial kissing, you guys. Initial kissing. Or just skin to skin without even actually the actual injection. You know what I mean? I can't say it on YouTube, guys, but you guys know what I mean. You guys are all adults. But before you even get to the actual act, you can get an STD. That's how, I was shocked when I read the book from the doctor, but that's how sensitive it is. So you just want to take precautions and be careful. That's what I think this story is about. I feel so sad for this beautiful girl. This story was not made here in any way to bash this beautiful girl or make fun of her or anything. It's a way to educate and us talk about it and to learn, because I really appreciate her being brave enough. Yet at the same time, I feel deep sadness for her, because I feel like someone should have talked to her, someone should have told her, someone who cared about her Love your friends enough, love your children enough to talk to them about these things. Okay, guys, let's see what you guys have to say. Yeah, she is still gorgeous. She is. Now it makes me wonder about the baby Nick and his girlfriend lost. That's what I was thinking about, Dinah. I just mentioned that a little earlier. I'm wondering and kind of wondering and questioning what's really going on, because just because what people are publicizing in the media is not always true. Okay, we don't really know why this child passed away. And we don't really know what this secret illness that Nick Cannon talks about. He talks about his lupus, but we haven't seen his medical records. We don't know if it's really lupus. So that's the thing, is kind of making me wonder, and wonder about Chris Brown too, to keep it real. But it's sad. Is it legal for a person to publicly disclose who their partners were when they were in incurable illness? Does this legally violate the health rights or others? That's a good question, Dinah. She's not violating any HIPAA if she hasn't disclosed any medical records. If she said she slept with someone, I mean, that's not. But I think the issue where she could get into problems, which she can't say it, is I think they have a non-disclosure on her. That's the part where she's in trouble. She could say that she slept with someone. She can't go and disclose their medical stuff, but she cannot. I don't think she can even say she slept with these people, because I believe these people, these particular celebrities, have a non-disclosure on her, which is why she's not disclosing, because she could be sued. And you can also see how she's just dropping these little hints. She dropped the media, she's dropping things that are already publicized. Like she dropped that TikTok that I showed you guys here, where she's showing herself being associated with Nick Cannon after disclosing she had HIV. That is a huge clue. She's saying something to us, guys. She's saying something without saying it, because she knows she can't say it. She knows legally she can't say it. So she knows, though, she can say it through what's already publicly disclosed. Look at the photo of her with her feet next to him. These are clues. Basically, she's cluing us in that something went down between them, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? That she disclosed this April 23rd. Show your greatness. Yeah. She was low-key exposing, guys. Low-key exposing. Low-key. Low-key. So I don't think she could actually come out and say it. I think they have a non-disclosure, and she can be sued. But she can say that she slept with someone. Yeah, if she slept with them. If they didn't have a non-disclosure. Let's just take the whole celebrity part of it. Let's say she was with John or whatever. If she's saying I'm with John, I slept with John, she can't say, oh, I think he has a STD. She could be sued she'll be sued. Either one, if she doesn't know that he has it and she's saying he has an STD, she will be sued for libel or slander. She will be sued, most definitely. But if she says, oh, I slept with somebody, then she can say that who she slept with. I mean, but in these particular situations with Nick Cannon, Chris Brown, and the other person she was with, I more than likely believe they have non-disclosures on her. So she can't talk, which is why she's not going to say or disclose who she's been around, because if she does, she will be sued. And she knows that. That's why she's already said on the Tasha K interview that she didn't really want to talk about who she was around or whatever. But she did disclose this because this was public. And she wants everybody to know and clue people on that they had something going on. They had relations. I think they did. She is exactly the type of woman that Nick Cannon likes. He was in a vulnerable stage. He is known to be a player, as you guys know. He likes to have multiple women. And he was right around the time where he was moving on and they were in a divorce. Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon were in a heavy divorce. So he was vulnerable, wanted to sleep around, and he's a celebrity, and she fits the physical appearance that he is attracted to, and he's in a hotel room with her, guys. You think he didn't have anything? That's like putting a pie or a cake, a child's favorite cake, in front of them and not expecting them to eat it when you walk away. They're gonna eat it. If you walk away and put a cake in front of the child and you leave for the day, you come back, that cake is gonna be gone. So I don't know. I don't believe that he just didn't sleep with her, but I don't think she can disclose any of that, because I think they have a non-disclosure, you guys. I think they do. Exactly, Dinah. That's why she's doing the hints. Right. Right, Dinah. Right. She wants you guys to know. She wants people to know, but she knows she can't actually explicitly say it. So she's just dropping the clues. And you can just go on her Instagram, you can go on her TikTok, and you will see the little clues that she's dropping. And I think she's dropping it because she might even think that maybe one of them gave it to her. She's probably like, you guys, one of y'all gave this to me. If Nick is positive, then it's really irresponsible for him to be making all these. Exactly, Island Girl. I think it's going to eventually come out. You can't hide it for so long. You can't keep. I mean, I don't know if he has it. I'm not saying the guy has it. I'm not putting anything on anyone. I'm just saying if he does, eventually, it could be leaked later on down the line. And who knows if he even got tested? Because that's the problem, guys. That's the problem, why I want to talk about this is so many people are out there sleeping around for decades, as it happened to this girl. She's not the only one. She just happens to have been an example of what is happening every day with millions of people out there. Young people who are sleeping around, may have an STD, may not even be this particular one, this illness, but they're sleeping around and not even knowing, and they're not getting checked because, I don't have a symptom. I'm fine. So I don't, just because you're fine on the outside doesn't mean you should not get your regular checkups if you're engaging in, having relations with different partners, not using protection, even if you are using protection, because it's surprising enough, you could use a condom and still get an STD. Yep, you can. I know it sounds surprising, but you can get an STD even if you're wearing a condom, because it's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. Imagine Nick knowing and having slept with all these women might be a reason for sowing his wild oats, leaving offspring behind when he is no longer here. Right, Dinah? That's a question we have to ask. Does he secretly know something, if you know what I mean? And now he's just like, well, I have nothing to lose. Because that's how some people get, guys. Some people who are selfish, there are people out there who are selfish, and if they get an STD, especially an incurable one, then they start feeling, well, I have nothing to lose. I could just sleep around with anybody and whatever. I don't care. They don't care about the other people out there. I mean, Exhibit A, R. Kelly. He knew he had that incurable disease, and he was sleeping around with all those girls. There's a lot of people like that out there. They will have an STD. They will even know they have it. Some people do. Some people don't even know. Some people don't get tested at all. Like this girl, she didn't get tested, which is why I want to talk about it, because we need to be tested, number one, regularly. But then there's other people out there. There's a dark and sinister group out there who they know they have an STD, and they know they have an incurable one. And because they're mad and angry because they got it for some reason, they will go out and seek revenge by just sleeping around with anybody. And they're like, oh, I don't have nothing to lose, so I could just sleep with whoever I want. And I don't care about the other people or if it endangers them or whatever. Sorry, guys. My internet just went out, as you can see. But that is the reality, guys. So you can't be fooled by people just because they say one thing to you. You can't trust them. You have to think about yourself and the welfare of other people. Yes, if and allegedly. Yes, it is if and allegedly. Exactly, Dinah. We don't know anything. I'm not saying Nick Cannon or Chris Brown have anything. I don't know what anybody has, or period. But I'm just saying they need to get tested. If this woman has come out and they know they've been involved with her, they need to get tested, because the problem is they're probably out there living their best life, and because they don't have symptoms, like I said, you get the initial onset, as we talked about. We read the symptoms. We went over that. You get that initial onset, but there is a stage where there's no symptoms. So they could feel just fine and dandy, and because they feel fine and dandy, they don't feel the need to go to the doctor. So they could be going around not realizing that they themselves possibly, allegedly, could have an incurable disease and not even know. So I think they need to go get tested if they don't know anything, just to get tested to make sure. And I think that's probably why she could have dropped that out on TikTok too, to kind of clue them in that, hey, you might want to get tested because, reminder, we were out a couple years ago. Exhibit A, look at this article. You know what I mean? Maybe she was kind of dropping a hint to him that he might need to want to go get tested. Who knows? Yeah, she did say she wasn't promiscuous in her interview, but during the time when she was homeless, she did talk about being RAPED'd multiple times. Who knows if any of those people, of course, if you're RAPD'd, I don't think they were out there looking for a condom. They did it, and they did the horrible act. So those particular people could have possibly had, something. And again, we don't really know her full story, you guys. Some people will say things you just don't know. You don't have, and the thing too, people think that just because someone has this illness or an STD that they're promiscuous. That's not true. There's people out there, if you go on YouTube, you can look this up. Some people will talk about their story of how they got a disease, and it could be just with their partner. They could have just been involved with their husband. There was one woman, she married a guy. She was with this guy for many years, and they got married, and he lied to her. She did not know he had HIV, and he gave it to her. And she was with him for all those years, had no clue, you guys. And she was only with him. So again, there's these stigmas and there's this misinformation that you have to be promiscuous to get an STD. No, that's why I said, if you're involved with anybody, you need to get tested. Even if you're just with one person, you still want to get tested because you cannot trust what people say. You can have been with your boyfriend or girlfriend for years. I would say still get tested because you don't know really, you can't really trust everything that people are saying. Like I said, because there's people out there, if you just want to educate yourself, you can go on YouTube and just look up documentaries of people who talk about their stories. And there are people on there that will share with you that, they were married to their spouses and found out their spouses lied to them and knew that they had it. Or maybe there was a girl who had moved from her hometown to Atlanta. She met a guy, she was with her boyfriend, this guy who became her boyfriend, and he gave her HIV. He gave her HIV, and she trusted him. She was with him for, many years, and he had it the whole time. And he lied to her and gave it to her. So again, this type of illness, STDs, whatever, it's not just because someone is promiscuous. There's all these stigmas attached to these illnesses, and that's the problem. The misinformation makes people think, oh, well, I'm not promiscuous, so I can't get it. No, if you're involved with anybody, you could be involved with your boyfriend. You don't know. Or your girlfriend or whatever. You don't know. So that's why I say, just go get tested. I don't know this woman's background. I just know what she shared. And I just pray for somehow that God will get a miracle for her and extend her life. She's only 27 years old. Here's another side note. Her sister is 29 years old. Oh man, it's gone, guys. Oh no, it's back. Okay, her sister is 29 years old, and her sister just died. Her sister just died of lung disease. 29. My battery's about to die. Her sister's 29, and she just found out her sister died, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. Here, 2 weeks ago. No, sorry, last month, June 9th.
I miss her so much already. My heart is so broken. I miss her so much already. God love your family. I know that you don't talk too much because it could be gone in a second. Snap of a finger. It's not fair. But please keep your family close. You never know what could happen. My sister was my biggest TikTok fan. She loved TikTok. So I hope you see this, LaPortia. You left me too soon, man. I'm mad at you. But I love you. Rest in peace. I know you're up there with Elvis and Grandpa. So, guys, just go love your family. Now.
And that's her sister. 29 years old, you guys. So not only is Gena dealing with stage 4 this stage 4 AIDS. Now, just June 9th, her sister died of a rare lung disease. Yeah, so she lost her sister. She on the way, and she was on her way to a park, and that's just sad. So her mother, think about what her mother is going through. Her mother lost her 29-year-old daughter to a rare lung disease, and now her 27-year-old daughter has stage 4, possibly, AIDS. So it's just, this poor girl's going through so much right now, having to fight for her life and losing someone close to her. It's just very sad. So you never know what someone's going through. And this is truly a cautionary tale to, learn from her and try to just talk to people around and educate people. And try to save a life. Try to save a life. Share this story with others so that other people can possibly learn from this and they can extend their life here and live a fruitful life. All right, guys. And I just want to caution you guys, please do not judge Gena. And if you're in my comments and you say anything judgmental or bashing her in any way, I will delete the comment, because this is not meant to bash her or anyone. It is actually meant to show love and to spread word about her story that she's sharing, so that we can hopefully save a life or two, or multiple lives, and people can learn from her and hopefully make better choices in the future for their own life. All right, take care, guys. Much love to you.